away the economy from those who rigged it. As I see it, class warfare, the only resort to right-wing doom. It's worth it. How to talk to your right-wing relatives, friends, and neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willis.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to the United States of America. And of course, good morning to the entire world. We are going to have a great show for you today. But do remember, how is the rest of the world receiving our signals through the magic of the internet? Created by whom? Created by we the people, now controlled almost exclusively by billionaires, something that we must recover, take back, and much more. Folks, we are going to have a great show for you today. I'm sleepy, but you know what? You guys are going to wake me up just fine. Without further ado, though, we're going to go to the studio where we are lucky to have the one and only Howard Reynolds, Jack Van Beber, and Mayana. How you guys doing this morning?
We're doing great. How you doing?
I am doing fine, especially after listening to your voices.
Good morning, Egberto. How are you?
I am doing fine, sir. How's it going out there?
It's a Monday morning at the radio station. Got a few little gremlins going on, but we're going to get through them.
But you know what? We always get through the gremlins, folks. And you know, that is one of the reasons we are here, to have the gremlins executed, man. Anyway, what's up? What's your word of the morning, sir?
Well, I don't have much, but a smart aleck remark, I guess. But HHS Secretary RFK Jr.'s first major report on making America healthy again turns out to be fraudulent, and the professional doctors are all over it. The title, MAHA, sounds good, don't it? It's a nice title.
Yeah. But unfortunately, it's just that, a title and nothing more.
MAHA and all these crazy.
I mean, these guys like to use all these great titles about what they're going to do and all that kind of stuff, and then it turns out that, wait a minute, it's not doing what it's supposed to do, and it actually is gonna harm people. But hey, what can we say? That's the name. Not much. That's the name of the game. Anyway, folks, we're gonna have a great show for you today. Let me see. Did your gremlins with Sandy get resolved yet? Is he around, or where are we?
I hope I'm around.
Oh yeah.
Resolved.
You're not only around, you're like very, very hot. Yeah, I think you're a little bit overpinned right now. I'm talking about clipping.
Yeah, well, you know. Hey, folks, KPFT listeners, we continue our fund drive. This is the second week that we're going through here. The second week will expire on Wednesday. We begin the third week Thursday, but even though we've only been at it for a little while, we're over the $102,000 mark. $102,770 have been collected from 643 kind acts of donation. So thank you very much. We're 2/3 the way there, and we can wrap this up in maybe another week, 10 days, I hope, and go back to our regular programming. So again, thank you for everybody that stepped up during Politics Done Right. Now, if you listen to this program and you haven't donated, consider making a $5 a month sustainer pledge. That's $60 a year. It's met with a $50 match, meaning it's a $110 contribution to this program. This program has a goal of $500 on this beautiful Monday morning, and 5 of you doing $5 a month will accomplish that feat of making the goal. Very important we keep the ball rolling, very important that we fund this fund drive. And again, thank you to all that have pledged, and happy Monday morning to all those folks listening, and all those gremlins hidden behind all the circuitry in the Arcanet. Back to you, Egberto.
Thank you so kindly, Sandy. That's a good thing, though. We always find a way to slay the gremlins in time to get on air with all of you. You know, we just can't not do it with you. But anyhow, folks are already all over the chat. Welcome aboard, everybody. Of course, we have Joanna from Los Angeles, California, Lisa Blair from Atlanta, Georgia, and in the house on that's on Substack we have. I missed the first 30 or so, but we've got Lou Schuler just chiming in, Cheryl Elkins, Ubit Sulaiman, Sharon Patton. Thank you so kindly for being here. We're going to have a great show for you today. Anyhow, um, a lot of folks are talking about uh, Ernst, the Ernst statement that she made about just we're all going to die, and the media has been going crazy about that story. And I may play a video about what I said about it a little later, but I want to point out something that is very important that we should know. It always seems like, and accuse me of identity politics here, if you will, but I have to point this out. I am no fan of Joni Ernst. Joni Ernst is not the worst MAGA person out there. In fact, she is just an acting MAGA person, right? She's not really with the program, but she has to act it out because of fear of the Führer. So she acts it out. But it made, as soon as she said, we are all going to die, it made they attacked this woman like no other. She became the Hillary Clinton of the mainstream media. And I looked at it and I'm like, but Joni Ernst isn't really the problem. Joni Ernst has not been the one committing, she hasn't yet, in this iteration, committed what's known as social murder. Social murder is when, because of the policies that you support, people die. Joni Ernst has taken the entire flack of the Republican evilness that occurring right now. I'm not talking about, remember folks, when I talk about Republican evilness, I'm not talking about rank and file Republicans, my average brother and sister. I am talking about the leaders that are doing these things. Joni Ernst has been taking the brunt of everything. And I wonder, why is it that while she hasn't yet in this iteration committed social murder, why is it that, let's say, Ted Abbott, or not Abbott, our governor, here we call him Ted, our governor, Governor Abbott, has not, Dan Patrick has not, and all of these folks who have passed legislation that actually kills people. All right, we are just about to finish another legislative session here in Texas, and still we don't have the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act. We are still not taking the tax dollars that Texans, all of you Texans out there, my brothers and sisters, Texans, all of you out there, you have paid into the Medicare expansion to the Affordable Care Act. You have already paid those dollars. You have spent those dollars. Whether ideologically or not, Dan Patrick and Greg Abbott wants to provide health care for the indigent and the poor that is available to provide right now. It's there for them to use. But Abbott and Patrick and the entire Republican legislature, as they are passing bills to restrict women, as they're passing bills to kill businesses that work with THC, as they're doing all these things, the one thing that they could not do, or they decided isn't worth their time, their morality, or their humanity, is to say, let's give health care that's already paid for by Texans to our poor, our rural folks, the indigent, and others. Let's do that. They didn't. And I don't see, yay, a national media really letting Abbott and Patrick and the Republican legislature in the 10 red states that refuse to give their people the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act. I don't hear the media talking about, look at what they said. She said we all are gonna die. And you know what? Guess what? We are all gonna die. I mean, she said it in a corny, rather insensitive manner. But you know what? We're all gonna die. But somehow it is okay to beat up on Joni Ernst. And look, I'm not defending Joni Ernst. I'm saying, how comes it becomes so easy to beat up on this woman, but it's so difficult for the media write stuff in your face, people dying from the policies in effect, not the policies that may be in effect, but by the policies in effect. Why is it? Why is it that we are not really hitting on those who are killing Americans? And note that what I'm saying, they're killing Americans. I mean, again, I said I don't want to play identity politics, but it seems like when women do a little something, the attack is on. But when these guys go out there and do other things, who cares? No big deal. It's just a policy thing. It's just a policy thing. Yesterday, Michael Johnson goes on TV, looked into the eye of every American listening. He was looking into that camera, and he said, the big, beautiful bill will not increase the deficit. That was patently a lie. And the person who interviewed him never said, sir, you're lying. You are lying. When he said it is not going to cut Medicaid, and we know that it's going to cut Medicaid because of the new because of the new policy requirements within that, it is going to kill me. And he looks into all of your eyes. And this isn't the first time they've done that. They've done this in 2016, or rather 2017. They've done it over and over again. They look in your eye. And by the way, MAGA, I'm talking to you, my brothers and sisters. You're the one that's going to pay the price. You are the ones who pay most of the price right now for all those places that chose, I repeat, for all your red state governors that chose not to give you the health care, the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act, you are the ones suffering. They just don't tell you on the news that the reason you can't get the health care is your governor chose not to give it to you. And it's already paid for. Your governor only has to pay 10%. And in the first 3 years, it was free. The federal government paid it all. Texas paid it. California paid it. Florida paid it. New York paid it. Connecticut paid it. And so when your aunt, your cousin, died because they couldn't get the medicine, died because they held back from going to the doctor because, you know what, man, I ain't got health care. I can't pay for that MRI. That money was there to spend, and they chose not to do it. It was a choice. It was a choice by policy of Republican politicians not to support you. And again, it's the MAGA-dominated states that didn't accept the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act. So by progressive and not progressive, from my mainstream media, yeah, give hell to Joni Ernst, but don't forget about Dan Patrick. Don't forget about Greg Abbott. Don't forget about Mike Johnson. Don't forget about all. Even Louisiana finally decided, you know what? We better give health care to our citizens, because guess what started to happen in Louisiana? Some of our Louisiana brothers and sisters started to wake up. And that was right in the backyard of who again? Mike Johnson. So, folks, I want you to wake up. Welcome aboard, Marge KJ from Chesapeake, Virginia. Great to have you here, sis. Great to have you here. And of course, Harry Denson says, good morning, Jack and Howard and Sandy. By the way, Harry, we have a new person in the studio, Mayana, so you want to salute her as well. Uh, and welcome aboard, Boudin Boy. Haven't heard from Boudin Boy before. All right, look, before I do my first pitch, let's go to Brother Tag, who's on line 2.
Good morning, Egberto.
Good morning, sir. Talk to me.
You know, I just listened to Arnie Arneson before you, and I think she made a really good point that Democrats need to come right out and say, listen, we're going to save your public schools, we're going to keep your hospitals open, and the one thing you didn't talk about, but I think is important, is that we're going to cut the federal deficit. Democrats, doesn't matter what level you're on, they all need to be saying the same thing. This is what we're going to do for you if you put us back in power. And these are things that you're losing by having Republicans running the country. And I think it's very simple, and you just got to stick with that message all across the country. And don't keep. Go ahead.
No, you continue, please.
No, you don't need to muddy it up. You got to keep the message real simple. You know, by saying, oh, well, you're losing your health care. Greg Abbott never gave it to you. It clouds the issue. It's like, we're going to keep your hospitals open. They're going to be publicly funded. And if you need to go to the emergency room, you aren't going to have to pay the bill. We're going to keep our rural hospitals open. It's a big problem. We live in mid-Michigan. They closed our rural hospital here, tore it down. It's gone. So, and put a clinic in.
Tag, I agree. Tag.
20 miles away. Go ahead.
Tag, I agree with that, but you have to look. America wants a boogeyman or a boogie person.
Yeah.
All right. So what I'm saying is, I didn't hear Arnie's show, but you can't just say we're going to keep your hospitals open if the hospital is open, right? Because that is not sufficient. I mean, but you have to make it simple. What I mean is, let's go to Cleveland here in Texas. They just closed the hospital, right? So that one, as an example, we will open that hospital. But the question is, why did that hospital close, right? So you have to add that preamble, and the preamble says, their policies close your hospitals and harm you. We will keep it open. They took away your health care. We will give you back your health care. They never gave you the health care. We will give you the health care. I think you have to make it a contrast. Otherwise, the other side can say, well, look, the hospitals are open. So I think, I honestly think she's right, first of all, but I think you have to add the preamble, a very short preamble, but you have to have it nonetheless. I tell you something that happened yesterday. I gave, a few weeks ago, I spoke about the interview that Chuck Schumer gave. And what Chuck Schumer did is they asked Chuck Schumer, are Democrats doing the right thing? And Chuck says, we're on the ball. We all have a message against Donald Trump. And you see, we're bringing his numbers down. And I am waiting. I'm listening to Chuck Schumer. I'm waiting. And just like you just said, Tag, I never heard him say any of what you just said. He didn't say, we're going to open back up those hospitals. She asked him, what are Democrats going to do differently? Okay. And then I am sitting down there listening, and then his final answer is, we are united, and we are doing what we need to do. And my answer to that was, really?
Bye.
Really? No, hell no. Now, secondly, I listened to Hakeem Jeffries yesterday, and I could not be more disappointed. Hakeem have a stump speech that he gave when Dana Bash asked him, Donald Trump crossed that line that you said couldn't be crossed, when Donald Trump arrested meaning his Justice Department arrested the woman, as opposed to come out as a fighter and says that is absolutely wrong, and we are going to be, he said, we'll respond at the time of our choosing, and he gave a whole long narrative. And Dana Bash said, "What exactly does that mean?" And I was pulling the hair that I don't have on my head, because it's the same question before she asked. I asked myself, "What does that mean?" You have to start taking the bull by the horns. If you really care about helping people, and I'm not even talking about winning elections, I'm at this point just talking about people getting help, people being able to see, people are in dire straits. These darn elitists do not see that 60% of Americans are a $500 or $400 bill away from destruction. But hey, who am I? Anyway, thank you. I got to go do a little bit of pitch and tag. Anything you want to say real quickly before I go?
Well, I think you did exactly what we need to be doing. Is like, yeah, they closed a hospital in Cleveland, Texas. They closed a hospital in Lakeview, Michigan in the last few years. It's like, this is what we're looking forward to. You can go around region by region and say, these are the hospitals you're going to lose. These are the public schools you're going to lose, is if you continue to put Republicans in the leadership roles and bring it right out. These are what we've lost. This is what we're going to lose if you don't change the way you're running this government. So that's what I want to say. Thanks, Egberto.
Thank you, my brother. And that is so true. We have to point out what, you can't just say, I'm going to do this something. You have to point out what the damage is that was done. And it is, to me, it is embarrassing in such a rich state like Texas that we have a media that doesn't put out that all those people living in Cleveland, Texas, and Porter, Texas, and all these surrounding areas around this rich city are in dire straits. But without further ado, let's go to the interim station manager, El Señor Sandy. Come on in, Sandy.
Thank you, Egberto. Well, it's around 23 minutes after the hour, meaning Egberto's been on for 23 minutes, and we're waiting on that first pledge. Again, our total stands at 102,770. Now, the first pledge of Monday morning is a very special one to us in the studio, and looking on at the pledge drive, it tells us that we can continue our fund drive in another week and expect that our listeners will respond. We don't know until we get that very first one. You just get that feeling on the other side here, if you will, from your ears to where we're talking to you from. Folks, there are some really good thank you gifts this time around. You could look at kpft.org for a full description of all the thank you gifts, but let me just mention a couple. First, this coming Friday, Rodney Crowell and Guy Forsyth will be performing at the Heights Theater for a KPFT benefit, and you can get tickets through kpft.org or the Heights Theater box office. There are some general admission seats remaining for that show. It's already largely sold out, but there are some general admission seats remaining if you want to join in on our 55th birthday celebration Friday at the Heights Theater at 7 p.m. I'll also mention that on August 9th, Tom Hartman will be here. He'll be speaking to an audience, and Grant Peoples, singer-songwriter, political singer-songwriter Grant Peoples, will be performing that night as well. That's at the Emerson Unitarian Church, Bering and Westheimer. Tickets for that are a $5 sustaining membership or a one-time pledge of $60 each. $5 a month on a sustaining basis or $60 each. And remember, the $5 a month membership on a sustaining basis, as all sustainers are, is greeted with a $50 bill. So 5 of you going to see Tom Hartman on August 9th will make Egberto's goal if you do it on a sustaining basis, which I hope you will certainly consider. Finally, on September 6th, we have Dead on the Lake, and that's going to be a 3-hour cruise leaving from South Shore Harbor Marina in League City on Clear Lake. It's fully catered, food and drink, and we have pairs of tickets available for that or single tickets available for that. The cost of that cruise is $150 a person or $275 a pair, $22.50 a month if you prefer, on a sustaining basis or just 12 months over the year. Any of the thank you gifts, the cost of which can be spread out over the course of the year. We're hoping that you'll join in and supply the money that we need to keep KPFT on the air. This fund drive represents the last fund drive of our fiscal year, which expires at the end of September. We won't be doing this again until the merry month of October. So, folks, we need to complete our mission as a community, funding this station to make sure that we have this independent voice. Hey, who else is going to tell you that the hospitals are going to be closing, the schools are going to be closing, and then have a discussion about it? I don't know any place else. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org and click donate. Again, the phone number 713-526-5738, option 1, or option 2 to talk to the studio. They can even handwrite a pledge there. But do participate, become radioactive. Don't let everybody else do this for you. If you listen and you haven't made that pledge, please participate. Egberto, back to you.
Thank you so kindly, Sandy. And I want to continue a bit with the pitch that Sandy is doing, because yes, I still am at zero and would love to fix that beforehand. You know, often you brothers and sisters leave me in a panic. The last couple of days I was at zero, and right at the end of the program it just started to pile in. But I'm going to pitch for another minute and a half or so, which is enough time to complete a pledge and not have to stop listening to the program. So I want to thank a big thank you to Ryan S. Thank you so kindly, Ryan S. We could not possibly do this without you. Again, thank you. Let's continue with some more pledges, if you will. Remember, we have a coffee with Egberto. It's $250. Remember, that all goes to the station. I just make my presence have great talk and conversation with you. You can ask anybody that have taken up that offer. We have a lot of fun. We sit down and we chat. A lot of times, we have one particular person. I always talk about Ryan because Ryan stands out with one of the Coffee with Egberto in that he's a lefty that think I'm not left enough, even though I think I'm more left than he is. And he just goes at it with me, and it was fun having him at the coffee shop and us discussing that. It's lighthearted. I don't care if you are MAGA. I don't care if you are left wing, right wing, I don't care who the hell you are. We are going to have some fun and having some solid, good discussion of whatever we want to talk about. What do you want to talk about? What I want to talk about? That's Coffee with Egberto, $250. Now, the other option is a Politics Done Right T-shirt is $100. I tell you, it is worth it. It's a cute T-shirt, and then you help us tell folks about this type of a program occurring. So, think about doing that as well. Now, what Sandy is speaking about is so very important, and those are those sustaining memberships. The $5 a month, you don't feel that. It's like a coffee a month. You don't feel that, but we feel it, because if we can get thousands of those, eventually we can stop these particular these many fund drives. Right now we do 4 a year. Sandy's been able to cut one out in that we're not going to have the August one any longer. That is thanks to you That is thanks to the sustainers that you guys have been given. If more of you do that, we have thousands of people that listen to this station. If more of you do that, my God, this could actually be something of the past. Now, $10 subscription as well. Look, I do $10. I give a whole lot of 501c3s because I think many of the 501c3s, I generally support progressive 501c3s. They are generally very, 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 very underfunded. And in doing many of those, what happens then is supporting something like KPFT. And by the way, let me just say, KPFT is uh, everybody's station. I'm a progressive voice on KPFT. We have voices that are not progressive on KPFT as well. Some of our musicians as well, not progressive, good people that are there entertaining. So again, this is Houston. This is America. Please consider being a supporter. $10 a month, $5 a month, $25 a month gives you a brick that you can put whatever you want that'll fit on that brick. 4x8, an 8x8 brick, $50 a month. 8x8, whatever you have the ability to fit on it. I'm not the expert on fitting it, but it's there. I want to welcome Nikki Black from Nicholas from Venice, California. Welcome aboard. We also have Lee the Bearcat. Lee the Bearcat, I want to get on your case. You said, situation 49-year-old making $90K per year, paying on student loan debt for 19 years, still has $20K balance. Solution, live on less, pay in off in 12 months. I used to speak like that, right? I paid off all of my student debt. And there's a time when I started business and started paying off more than could. But that $90,000, suppose that brother or sister has 3 kids, 2 in college. You don't know everybody's personal economy. The fact of the matter is our student loan system is horrendous. We need to look at countries like Brazil and Germany, countries that are advancing technologically, and see how they do it. We can always learn from others. Let's see. Did I see somebody else in here? Anyway, let's go ahead and bring Adam W. is in the house. He says, "Is Coffee with Egberto a one-time gift? And if so, since I don't live anywhere near Texas, can I opt for that option where you can pick your number one?" Oh, that would be great, Adam W. Yes, it's a one-time gift. So you can go ahead and call 713-526-5738 and do that one-time gift. And you and I will pick the person in the Houston area to go for the coffee. We could do that, Adam W. Thank you so kindly for that offer, sir. All right, let's go to brother Bruce, line 1.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Bruce. I know you have something, one of your little smart things for me this morning, right?
Yeah, it's one of my weird ones. I keep hearing about this line Republicans talk about it not crossing. All right, it doesn't exist. It reminds me of Zeno's one of his paradoxes. You can make a hill taking one pebble at a time and adding it. At which point do you add one pebble, you have a hill, subtract one, you no longer have a hill. Same thing with the mountain. And hill and mountain are both just abstract constructs of the mind. They're concepts, they're not concrete. What's concrete is there is a pebble or pebbles or there's not. I mean, to one pebble, a microbe would see a mountain. The reason I brought that up is I keep hearing my Republican friends saying, I don't approve of this Trump did or that Trump did, but he hasn't reached the level, and they're making up an imaginary line that doesn't exist. Either you violated the Constitution or you haven't. If you violated one clause, you violated the whole Constitution, you're authoritarian, and you're trying to be a dictator. They need to get off their high horse, quit making lame excuses, and either choose one or the other. You for authoritarianism or you're not. It's very easy to see. It's written in plain English in the Constitution. That's the language that our little old ancestors spoke. I'm done.
Bruce, wise words as usual, my brother. Thank you for that, all right?
All right, bye.
Have a good one. All right, let's go to brother David, line number 2. Come on in, David.
Hey, morning, Egberto. Yeah, I'm sure glad I followed him. He just reminded me, you remember how the Republicans for years have been demanding English only, English only. Well, the English only says, the Constitution says this, and they still don't want to read it right. So, Hey, well, the thing that spurred me to call today, I saw a piece yesterday. I'm trying to hunt it up real quick, but apparently there's a Texas town that is sponsoring Elon Musk's SpaceX. And it's only a town of 500 people. And it's apparently just within the year, they authorized it to become a company town for SpaceX. And then all of a sudden they get something like an eviction notice that the demands of SpaceX say that all of these people's houses are no longer desired, and that they want to make it an industrial town, and they basically are trying to evict the people of Elon Musk's town, or the SpaceX town. Have you heard anything about this?
Yeah, they're trying to incorporate a place called, I think it's Boca Chica Village. And I heard at one time they wanted to call it Star Base. But look, we have a caller to this program who moved out of the area because of all the crap and the pollution that had been occurring with all the launches and tests that's been going on in that South Texas area. I don't know if she's listening today, but she called in a couple of times telling us about how things are down in that area. But yes, and they are trying to incorporate, if you will. I don't know if they have yet, or if it went through yet or not, but they are trying. Anything else, my brother?
Yeah, well, I just found it. Let's see. Elon Musk wants to colonize Mars, but he's starting with a tiny Texas town of 500 people, 280 of which work for SpaceX, and a recent memo suggests the company may be expropriating their land. Let's see, I think the article is called Elon Musk's Company Town Warns Residents It Might Send Them Packing. That came out day before yesterday.
You know, it's called eminent domain, right? And since Texas loves Elon Musk, he will have no problem using eminent domain. But let me take it one step further. Imagine him using eminent domain to take Texans off of their property. But we brought 57, I think, white South Africans to the United States because Ramaphosa said that a lot of the land that was taken from the South Africans, those that are not in use, some of it will be returned to the state. Wow. It's amazing. Elon Musk is doing what Ramaphosa is doing in South Africa, just at a larger scale. Amazing. And Elon Musk is, I find the idiosyncrasies, and that's what I'm calling it, idiosyncrasies of this government quite interesting. Anything else, David, before we move on?
Oh, well, it just reminds me of the SpaceX. What was it? Their rocket that launched the other day ended up crashing. I guess the part of the launch system crashed into the Indian Ocean in a really devastating way. So that makes 3 out of 5 launches of his crashes. And then the part that did land or stay in outer space, the door won't open, so he can't even get his payload delivered. So, these Republicans claim that the private enterprise can get everything done, as opposed to NASA. And NASA was pretty dang cautious for all of these years. They slow and steady wins a race. And here's this drug addict, Elon Musk, is able to trick Donald Trump and the MAGAs into believing that that his fast actions, his chainsaw approach to government, is going to be the delivery of some sort of freedom. Well, it's freedom from freedom to die, freedom to get evicted and create devastation. So yeah, keep an eye on that one.
David, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, just good morning, Texas.
Well, look, David, let me just add to that, because you opened the door for me. I think it is important for us to call out these gods that people create, right? And the reason it's important is not to give them the undue kudos that many give. Elon Musk, let me tell straight to everybody first. Elon Musk is not an engineer. Elon Musk is not a scientist. Neither of that. Elon Musk is a business person who got lucky during the day when all those good old boys made money from creating websites. Let's be clear here. And having that capital gave Elon Musk capital after capital, just like Mark Cuban and these others, to go buy things that already existed. And so he could buy a SpaceX, he could buy a Tesla, he could buy a Starlink, etc. But as far as the technical capability to do any of these things, so when you hear him talking on TV about going to Mars or anything, he couldn't write a piece of code to help him to help a ship land. All right. No piece of software. I want folks to understand this, because the media is so uninformed in describing this guy as some sort of a genius. A genius he's not. A dopehead he is. Okay, if anybody else, if we went into the middle of the ghettos, the barrios, or Appalachia, and people were shooting up the way he's shooting up with pills and drugs, they would be in jail. He attempted to run a government and destroyed a lot. So, I mean, these, and by the way, for anybody who thinks, well, why speak ill of him? These are the statements of fact. And these, we can't, having our government run by dope heads and criminals gives us the kind of government that we're building right now that is destroying all that we built over the years. And you're so right, David. NASA has been paying good contractors for a long time to develop the Saturn V, to develop Gemini, to develop and they worked. Very few explosions. In today's world, you don't need most of those explosions, because we have finite element analyses and we have all these tools of simulation that can have the thing blow up in a computer before it blow up in the air. But the other major thing that I want to let folks know is he's not only endangering that little community that you spoke about, Brother David, he's also putting every airplane in the vicinity of one of his blown up rockets in danger. Let me qualify it this way. If something blow up before it goes into orbit, those particles are going to drop it's going to disperse in a very wide area. Some of that area could cover into the flight path of something, whether it's a private plane or a commercial plane. They try to keep them distance apart, but an explosion, things go in all kind of direction. And with airflow, remember, these things occur in airflow, etc. Small particles can put itself in the way of a jetliner, and we don't know why the hell the jetliner crashed. But if there's a time limit after the explosion. After a couple of hours, most of the stuff will be on the ground. Most of the stuff that can cause damage would be in the ocean or underground. But when that stuff reaches suborbital range and it's orbiting the Earth and it's decaying because of the friction with the air, if we don't exactly know based on that explosion, because the explosion is multidirectional and different angles, we don't know when and where these particles are going to land. So therefore, every jetliner around the world, not just in the United States or just in the path of the flight path, but every jetliner in the air it's going to show up. Okay. So let's keep that in mind. Uh, Actually, Adam W., you said you don't see Coffee with Egberto online. I actually saw it as one of the gifts online, brother. So scroll down or just put the first name in there. Just put Egberto in the search, I think, for the gifts, and it'll show up. Let me know if you find it. Otherwise, just email your telephone number to it. Actually, what you can do is call that number. If you don't find it, call the 713-526-5738 and ask Jack to take it manually for you. But look at it first on the website, and you should be able to scroll down or just put Egberto, just put my name, since that's the only strange part of the thing, and see if it pops it up for you. All right, let's see. Let's go to Patrick. Come on in, Patrick.
Hey, good morning. How are y'all?
Good morning, my brother. Talk to me.
We're talking about Musk a lot, but we're not really talking about XI very much. Amy Goodman did a little bit of coverage on it not too long ago. It's based in Memphis, just outside of Memphis.
Yes.
Largest computer in the world.
Yes.
They're instead of running on a grid, they decided to
build their own turbines.
Yeah, jet turbines, and they got I guess they got certificates or permission to run 15 of them. They run 38 at a time. The people in the area, the emergency services for asthma and other respiratory problems has gone up sixfold since they've opened. They know that they're getting these people sick. They don't seem to really care. So in the same way that they're dumping things into the atmosphere that might harm airplanes, we definitely know that he's dumping emissions into poor areas and getting people sick.
Let me just tell you that I just found an actual local reporter from Memphis. She's actually listed on Substack as Booker Squared. Her name is, I think her last name is Booker, and she's carrying that story in detail. And I tagged her yesterday to see if I could find a way to get her on, because it's a big story that nobody is talking about. With the supercomputer and generated using gas turbines that's polluting. And by the way, they always do this. They put these things in poor neighborhoods, which is exactly what they did here in Memphis, Tennessee.
Because they can't fight back.
There you go.
Not because it's any more justified. In fact, if you put it in a rich person's area, they live less densely, so you'd actually be doing a little less damage. You'd be hurting fewer people.
Exactly. Anyway, anything else, Patrick, before I move on to Augie?
Yeah, there's another one of these facilities on the books that is going to be 2.5 times the size.
Where?
It's the same amount of electricity that 60% of Memphis does on a daily basis.
Wow. And do you know what city are they targeting for that one?
Outside of Memphis.
Oh, another one in Memphis? It is crazy for them to put two big supercomputer centers in a centralized location like that. Makes no sense for distributed networking. But anyway, like I said, Elon Musk isn't the smartest cat out there. But you don't do that. If you're going to put a mega supercomputer center in Memphis, you don't want to put a second one there. You want to put maybe in the Dakota and then some. You want to have it dispersed so that it. Well, anyhow, let's talk at 3:00. Thank you very much, Patrick.
Yes, sir. Have a great day.
You too. All right. Before I go to Augie, I'm going to throw it to Sandy for a quick pitch because I'm still at only one contribution so far. So please go ahead and Sandy, come on in.
Thank you, Egberto, and thank you to all the people calling. Lively discussion this morning. That's what KPFT is. It provides that conduit, that place where we can all connect in the morning to have these discussions. And quite frankly, I'm learning about the supercomputer and gas generators at the same time. It's kind of shocking that oligarchs will go ahead and spend the money for what they think is a great scientific breakthrough, and at the same time not consider environmental impact. We always do an environmental impact study, or at least we used to. Anyway, going back to the program, Egberto has a $500 goal, and Ryan, who picked up coffee with Egberto, got us about halfway there. We're about $250, $300 shy, meaning that if 3 of you do a $5 a month sustaining membership, maybe in the process get yourself a ticket to see Tom Hartman and Grant Peoples in August, we'll make the goal and we'll move on to the next show. The contribution from Ryan did something else too. It pushed us over the $103,000 mark. So we're making good progress, KPFT listeners, but we really need to hear from you this morning. Don't sit idle. Don't expect everybody else to do it. Statistically, about 1 in 16 listeners during the course of the year bother to make the call. So there's plenty of room for people that have not yet pledged, have never pledged. We're a community radio station. For 55 plus years, there has not been a commercial on KPFT, and with any good luck, we'll retain our license, and for another 55 years, commercial sponsors won't have a home at 90.1. It's a big difference. A lot of people listen just because there are no commercials. Come Fund Drive, we know a lot of people aren't listening right now. But for those of you that, really are interested in the content and are still with us during Fund Drive, well, consider that sustaining pledge. It does 2 things. Number 1, cuts down on the Fund Drive days, so your abhorrent condition to our pitching would vanish. Just like the summer sizzle vanishes. We can eliminate fund drives, more days, with your sustaining membership. $5 a month. I don't think it's a lot to ask. Egberto said like a cup of coffee a month. I don't know where he gets his coffee at coffee shops. Last time I checked with the tip, it was more like $8 or $9 or most of a $10 bill for a cup of coffee. Folks, we need everyone to participate. Do not sit idle. Also, if you're driving, listening, maybe you're on your way into work on this Monday morning, don't do it while you're driving, but when you get to someplace safe, you pull over, you can go to kpft.org and click donate, or you could always call 713-526-5738, option 1, and talk to somebody about it. I heard you talking about someone online having difficulty finding Politics Done Right and Coffee with Egberto. You could always call the number 713-526-5738, option 1. I don't know about what your computer does, but on Monday morning, my mouse doesn't like to be clicked. It's not ready until Tuesday. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. Back to you, Egberto.
Thank you so kindly, Sandy. Folks, I only have 1 contribution. My heart aches, but I know you all are going to come through for me. I know you're going to come right at just have him fly in at the end. But look, let's go to Augie and Brian. We are coming to you, Brian. Don't think we're forgetting about you. Come on in, Augie.
Good morning, Egberto. It was good to hear you last week on the evening on Wally's show. But when you were talking about rockets exploding, the test that NASA does, the next day on ABC, they have a Good Morning America show, GMA third hour. And the first thing this guy on the show said about, he was talking about the explosions at that Musk had, and he was praising, said, with every explosion, we learn something new. And it's like he's not a scientist or an engineer. And he was praising all these explosions that Musk was having. And I'm thinking, that's our media saying that. And I'm thinking about how, like Lester Holt, he's an NBC news guy, but when he questions politicians, particularly Republicans, he doesn't question them. He doesn't give them hardball questions. He gives them softball and lets them get away with saying whatever want to say. But they're coming up for these next elections. They're deciding to put Juan Castro or Beto again. They got some candidates maybe to come up against the Republicans here. And what a good thing would be if they had their pictures taken in front of Cleveland, Texas hospital that got closed down by the Republicans.
Exactly.
And there's a regional hospital in Columbus that got closed down by a for-profit hospital. And Katy had a real great little hospital, but it got bought out and closed by a for-profit hospital there. And if it says it's a for-profit hospital, it's telling you what it's for. It's for the profits. It's for the money. It's not for the employees or the patients. They don't care.
Augie, you nailed it. Augie, close up for me real quick so I can get to Brian.
Yeah. Well, just let's hold our Democrat politicians, put their feet to it, and instead of words, we need action out of them.
Amen.
And thanks for that.
Thank you, my brother. Appreciate you both for your words and for your support. Always. Now, we need to reiterate, folks. Augie just magically said it. When these folks talk, oh, every explosion we learn something. They need to go deeper. Let's go to Brother Brian. Come on in, Brian. Let's see what I did today.
Okay, yeah. First off, I have two things. Why aren't you calling out Biden with all of his lies that he had over years and years and years, such as his son, Bo, dying in Iraq? That's probably the biggest one. And then he took the train every day and every night from Washington, D.C., back to his home in Delaware. Over 42 years, something like that. Yeah, that's more than 2 million miles. But yeah, the Democrats never bring this up as far as lies. Now Elon Musk is a dopehead now. Is that what you're trying to push as a narrative?
Well, isn't he?
Where's your proof on this?
Oh, we have the proof. Don't worry about that. We do have the proof, but
I need the proof.
All right, we'll have to do it. We'll find the proof for you, sir. What else do you have to say, my brother?
Yeah. Now you keep saying that you used to work for NASA, but you got pissed off and quit because of the good old boy mentality. I didn't know the Indians and Japanese had the same mentality.
Wait a minute.
It ain't got no gas in it. That type of mentality.
What's that? No, sir. I don't understand where you're going with this. I quit NASA because I wanted to do stuff on my own. Okay. And yes, it is a good boy thing. And eventually I would have left for the good boy purposes. But I left because I wanted to build on my own. I created a software development company that NASA bought my software as well. That Jet Propulsion Laboratory bought my software as well. What else would you like to talk about?
Okay. Now, how many programs initially in the start of the NASA programs, the launch programs for the missions, how many of them failed? Did we forget about the space shuttle?
No, a lot of them failed. No, I mean, a lot of them failed. Look, that's not what I'm doing.
50% failed.
And actually, that's not. No.
I believe that I heard that somewhere.
I don't care what you believe. I'm telling you what the facts are. You're wrong. You're simply wrong.
I believe I heard that many years ago.
I don't care if you heard it. You're wrong. Brother, if you heard it, it doesn't matter. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're simply wrong.
The Indians, their rockets doesn't fail either. McDonnell Douglas, their rockets didn't fail.
We're not getting anywhere. Do you have another topic you want to discuss, sir?
No, you just tell the truth.
Okay, I think everything that I've said was the truth. Thank you so kindly, Brian. You have a wonderful rest of your day. All right, folks, look, the telephone number is 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to donate. And Adam W., you made it. Adam W. is giving both of us the choice to choose another person for coffee with Egberto. Adam W., thank you so kindly. Adam, let me tell you how great Adam is. Adam is a supporter across that came over from our Substack and afternoon program to KPFT as well. And he's supporting both standalone politics on right and KPFT. You're a wonderful person, my brother. And so is Joanne. Thank you, Joanne. I have so many great guys, folks in the chat right now, and so is I mean, there's so many of you. Anyway, thank you so kindly. Let's go ahead and go to well, before I go to line number one, I want to do in about 30 seconds. I've got to do a station ID. So before I do that, I just want to tell you guys, look, I appreciate all of the support coming here. I know Sandy, Jack, Mayana, and Howard. Every time we see and hear from you, we know that we know that you like what you're getting, and we love and thank you for your support. This is KPFT Houston. All right, let's go to Johnny. Come on in, Johnny. Line number one.
Real quickly, our friend from the other side of the aisle, our fellow time traveler, Brian or Brain, he is so transparent in his hatred for certain Americans. Brian or Brain, put that brain into use for something good. Stop calling out people that we already call out. That's ancient history. We've covered that, gone over it, been there, done that. Help us take the Republicans down and put progressives in the Democratic Party to save this country. Sick and tired of listening to your BS every damn day. Bye.
Thank you so kindly, Johnny. Look, the thing about it is, I'm going to keep the airwaves open for everybody. But the thing about it is, he also helps us see what it is like when the analysis isn't honest. Okay, so that is fine. And Leader Bearcat says NASA early years, especially in the 1950s and 1960s, failure rates for spacecraft were significantly higher than they are today, potentially reaching around 50%. That's not the discussion. The discussion was whether the rate that the NASA's failure rate is 50%. And one of the things that I gave early on, and this is very important, in the days of NASA, we didn't have the types of simulation that we had today. We didn't have the supercomputers that could perform finite element analysis, which means we could figure out stresses and all these other things in components, and we could create different degrees of freedom on airflow, maximum stress levels. We could do all those things. We couldn't do all those things in supercomputers. We had to build the stuff, fly the stuff with sensors, figure out what's happening, and then we built to correct for that. You don't have to do that today. You can build almost an entire damn car on a simulated, and then work out the tweaks later on. And tweaks would be the things that you didn't think could happen that happened, right? It is like I tell you, writing programs. The writing software is easy. Writing software for the exceptions that occur, that's the difficulty. That is the difficulty. So lead a Bearcat, failure brings success. I agree with that. But unnecessary failure is silly. All right, let's go to Sandy for our last pitch, and then we'll finish up with the last subject. Sandy?
Thank you, Egberto. And again, thanks for everybody for listening this morning. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Ryan, very much for stepping up. Those two folks stand alone in the support of KPFT and politics done right this morning. I'd like to see about 2 or 3 more pledges come in this morning before we're done with the program. And again, $5 a month on a sustaining basis. What the sustaining money is doing is it's filling in the gaps between the months when we don't have fund drives, and during fund drives, it's adding to the total, allowing us to get to our goals faster. This means that we have fewer fund drive days, and we have a much more stable environment for KPFT where the dollars are concerned. Folks, we are a volunteer-powered station. We have 1 full-time employee. We've got the budget cut back to the bone. There's nothing that we're spending money on that we don't need to continue broadcasting. That's simple. There's no frills. There's no wasted money in our budget. All we're asking for is that you as a listener, if you have not yet participated, step up on this Monday morning. Become the next sustaining member, $5 or $10 a month. If you're already a sustaining member, considering adding $5 to your pledge. If you're a $5 sustainer, make it 10. If it's 10, make it 15. Indeed, if everybody were to double, everybody that's a sustainer were to double what they're contributing now, and that's a tall order, I realize. We need more people. But if everybody were to double, or we can get more people to double the sustaining money, fund drives would pretty much be 2 weeks a year, twice a year. That would be it. We can do this together. There's another way to run this station that we're on to here. And I think if we see it through, KPFT can be around for many, many, many years to come without the threat of being shut down for lack of an electricity bill not being paid. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. You have the power. This is your goal as listeners. All we can do is keep track of where we are and tell you what the thank you gifts are. But the biggest thank you, how about Egberto, Monday to Friday at 6 a.m.? How about Amy Goodman? How about Conversations and all of the other morning programming that you get? And then, of course, the music block from 10:30 to 6 every day. It's brought to you by you. Please do not be idle. I hope that we can shut this fund drive down in about 10 days, finish early, and be done with it. But we can only do that if we have folks step up. So don't be shy, and don't hang out and wait and let somebody else do it. Somebody else will not do it. You can't depend on that. We can only do what we can do. Now, if you're a little strapped for money, do not give us your grocery money. Do not give us the money that you use to pay your own electrical bill. Use what you can that you can part with, $5 a month, $10 a month, to power this radio station. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening and supporting. That number again is 713-526-5738. The website, kpft.org. And again, you'll see all the thank you gifts, lots of opportunities to click donate and come on board with so many of your friends and neighbors. In fact, 645 distinct donations, now totaling $103,270. Egberto, thank you. Back to you.
Thank you so kindly, my brother. Let me just say this. We're a small station of volunteers, but we have a huge reach. We have 100,000 watt transmitter, folks. That's bigger than a lot of stations that are commercial. But we are doing it because of whom again? You. You are the ones that are giving us a voice. And we would not have this voice without you. So when I tell you I'm thanking you from the depths of my heart, I really, really mean that. But we need to continue this growth. We need to continue doing this. Everything is getting more expensive. I saw my light bill and my water bill and almost passed out the last couple of days. I'm like, did we start taking twice as many showers, babe? I don't know. But, so here's the thing. We do need your support. As Sandy said, 713-526-5738, extension number 1, or go to kpft.org, kpft.org. Welcome aboard, Mary Scott, Linda, AE, Jane B in North Carolina, Cheryl Elkins, Lori Thomas, and Jerry Paris. Adam W, thank you for that contribution. Catherine Hill. Catherine Hill said, good morning, Egberto, off to the dentist. I hope they don't drill too hard. Terry High, Todd Golden, Bob Gregory, Louis Kenny, Silly Math, Marcus Aurelio Schwantes, Mish Inman, and everybody else. I missed the first few 40 of you, so bear with me, my dear brothers and sisters. Look, I got about a minute and a half to go, and then we're going to shut this down. Even after we shut this down, you can go to call 713-526-5738, extension 1. Please let them know that you are doing this on behalf of Politics Done Right. All the money goes to KPFT, but that we're the ones that you're doing it on the behalf to ensure that when they do the tallies, they can understand that this show is worth keeping on air. 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Likewise, please consider otherwise going to kpft.org, kpft.org. Hit the donate button, select the gift that you'd like to get. And remember to select Politics Done Right as the program you're supporting. Also, consider what Sandy's been pointing out. As we get more $5 a month, more $10 a month, we can slow down on these things, and you can get a full hour of programming. So this is all up to our wonderful people that are listening out there. I got to check out. Love you all. Thank you all. The rest of the program is at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. You can write me directly at kpft@politicsdoneright.com. kpft@politicsdoneright.com. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out! Democracy Now is up
Joining
next.
Democracy Now!